We are in court, and the rest is in God's hands.
Janet Jackson gave birth to her son Issa when she was 50 years old. She and her husband separated only months later, and we found out how she really felt about him. A year after their separation, it became clear that she was pretty terrified of him, and you'll never believe what Janet did the day she thought her child was in danger because of him. Celebrities are known for their highly publicized divorces and custody battles, and Janet Jackson and her ex, Wissam did not escape media attention either. When they split up in 2017, Janet had to fight to make sure she'd get as much time with her son as possible. She released a video on Twitter confirming that she was in court and that the rest was in God's hands. Eventually, she was able to leave her home in the UK, and she took Issa with her so that she could turn over a new leaf back in the States. A judge ruled that Wissam would be allowed to see his son, but that a caregiver always needed to be present when he was around. One of ET's sources claimed that Janet had been living a life where she felt controlled at every moment, and that she didn't want her son growing up with the same feelings. Her brother, Randy Jackson, even came out and said that Wissam was a toxic person, and that he'd been worried about his sister while she was in a relationship with him, which could explain why Janet was probably concerned about leaving her son with Wissam when they first separated. There was one night in the summer of 2018 when she must have felt especially frightened about Issa being in his father's care. That was when the world found out just how little she trusted her ex to take care of their son, because she actually called the cops on Wissam. And you're seriously not going to believe what went down on that insane evening. The police received a call from Janet asking them to do a welfare check on her toddler. He and his dad were staying in a hotel in Malibu along with Issa's nanny. A spokesperson for the Malibu Lost Hills Sheriff's Station confirmed to People the deputies had been called to the scene. They apparently decided the child was okay and left. To anyone who witnessed the incident, it probably didn't look like it was anything serious. But if the police didn't think that Issa was in any kind of danger, why did Janet? Well, it turns out that she had serious cause to believe that her baby was not being looked after well. TMZ reported that their law enforcement sources had revealed that Janet was super concerned about something pretty shocking. Apparently, she believed that her ex was taking illegal substances around their little boy. But according to a report by The Blast, the police found nothing dangerous. The Los Angeles County Sheriff's Office told the media outlet that there was zero suspicion of substances being used, and that the office was confused about why Janet had even made the allegation. It seems that wasn't the only reason why Janet wanted to call the cops, though. Her brother Randy Jackson later shared that something else had happened that night that really frightened Janet, and clearly it was alarming enough for her to want to call professionals to check in on her son. I mean, it was something that would make any mother worry about the safety of their child. In an open interview with Entertainment Tonight, Randy revealed that his sister's nanny had a lot to do with Janet's concerns. She supposedly called Janet and told her that Wissam was behaving aggressively that night. A day after the incident, The Blast released a report that specified that the real reason things got so out of hand was due to a Wi-Fi issue. Apparently, the nanny freaked out when Wissam wouldn't give her the password to the Wi-Fi, claiming that it meant she couldn't contact Janet, who'd reportedly instructed her employee to always be available. An insider told People that without Wi-Fi, the nanny was unable to do her job and stay in touch with Janet during an instance when it was necessary. However, people representing Wissam pointed out that Wi-Fi wasn't needed to stay in communication, and added that it was shameful that the police were called. The most important thing was that Issa was okay and wasn't in any kind of danger in the end. Honestly, I can understand why Janet panicked and was worried about her son's safety. It must have been really difficult for her to be away from her 17-month-old. And then, on top of that, she left him with someone who she clearly had issues trusting. One of People's sources claimed that Janet couldn't be a better mom and was very worried about her son when he wasn't with her, explaining that Issa was her life. It also came out that none of the main reasons that Janet and Wissam split was because of their cultural differences, something that was reportedly cited in their divorce documents. The insider revealed that during their marriage, Janet worked hard on adapting to Wissam's culture, but she found it challenging. She often found herself disappointed with Wissam. They went on to add that when the duo started sharing custody, it was very difficult for Janet that Wissam had a completely different parenting approach than she did. An insider shared something similar with E! News. They claimed that one of the many reasons for their divorce was the couple's religious beliefs. Wissam and Janet did not feel that they were on the same page when it came to both that and the way they wanted their child to be raised, explaining that Janet was more of a free spirit than Wissam. But aside from those differences, it sounded like Janet had reasons to fear her ex-husband too. Around the time of the divorce, Randy was very open about how much he disliked his brother-in-law, and he told various news outlets about the kind of marriage he believed his little sister was in. What he had to say was honestly just so shocking. He explained that Janet had been through a lot with her divorce, and that Wissam had become toxic later on in the relationship. He went on to claim that he was verbally harmful toward his little sister and that she was made to feel like a prisoner in her own home. Randy and Janet were both living in London when she was with Wissam. He accused Wissam of calling her derogatory names every day while she was pregnant, although he clarified that things never got physical. Even so, it sounds like the experience took an emotional toll on Janet and it could have traumatized her, which would explain why she didn't think that calling the cops on her ex was too extreme. According to thewillnews.com, there was one silver lining that Janet got from being married to Wissam, other than her son, of course. The website claimed that the couple signed a marriage contract with two very lucrative agreements in it. One of the clauses was that Janet would get $100 million from her billionaire husband if she stayed married to him for at least 5 years, which she did. Another clause was that she'd also get $100 million if she gave birth to a son, which she did. So she apparently walked away from the marriage $200 million richer. But it sounds like she paid a heavy price for it. After the alarming incident with the police, Janet claimed that she decided she did not want to have another nanny. In 2019, she told the Daily Telegraph's Stellar magazine that it was hard being a working mother, that she did it all herself. She went on to confess that she knew if her mother could do it with 9 children, there was no reason that she couldn't. It seems like little Issa is growing up well. Over the years, we've learned that he is following in his family's footsteps by taking an interest in music. He reportedly likes to play the violin and the cello and enjoys copying his late uncle's dance moves. Apparently, he's slowly discovering just how famous his mom is. Janet told Today that she'd been trying to keep him away from that, but that his friends were starting to put it together for him. Hopefully, Janet and Wissam have come to some kind of custody arrangement that works for the both of them, since they haven't made any more headlines relating to their co-parenting. Of course, you never know what goes on behind closed doors, and Janet and Wissam are both very private people. Let's just hope that Issa isn't affected by the history between his mom and dad. Anyway, what do you guys think? Did Janet overreact when she called the cops on her ex-husband, or was she right to be worried? Do you think Wissam treated his wife as badly as Randy claimed he did? Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below.